We finally put that question to rest.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ginger ale with fresh ginger juice. So good.
Welcome back to the Fermentation Adventure. This week we are answering the question, can you make ginger ale from raw ginger juice that you juice in a juicer instead of boiling with the boiling method to make a soda syrup? That is a question that a lot of you have had, and we've even had that question for many years. We're going to answer that today. So generally, when we're making any kinds of soda, ginger ale included, we go through a process of boiling the flavor out of the ginger. Now, that's the standard practice. But why would we even have to boil it if we have a juicer that can juice the raw flavor?
Now, why would we even want to go through that process? We like the flavor of raw ginger. So that spiciness, it kind of stays when you juice it. Another reason, why boil it and kill all of the good minerals and vitamins and all that nutrition if you can just juice it and keep it? And that way, when you make ginger ale with the fresh ginger juice, it's alive.
So in the standard practice of boiling the soda syrup, we're killing everything. And then we're introducing the ginger bug, so we have a really good chance of having a good soda. But if we have something that's already alive, that already has a lot of bacteria and yeast, we're taking the chance that maybe those will take over and the ginger bug won't. So this is going to be very interesting.
I'm feeling really hopeful about this. If we were making a different type of juice with all different kinds of fruit, it could be more problematic to use fresh juice because you might be introducing all kinds of new bacteria. But in this case, since it's straight ginger ale and we're using a ginger bug, we should be okay.
I mean, sometimes you can bring in some bad bacteria. We've had some weird ones that turns the whole thing to slime. But we've never had that problem with ginger ale, so I think this is going to be really good. Join us on this journey to explore the world of fermentation.
If you'd like to learn how to make ferments like these, start now by clicking subscribe and hitting that bell so you don't miss a thing. So will this work?
Let's do this and put this question to rest once and for all. So the very first ingredient we need, of course, is ginger.
So today we're making a half-gallon recipe of this fresh juiced ginger ale.
For a half gallon, we need 6 ounces by weight of fresh ginger. We have a beautiful piece of ginger right here. This actually looks really good, nice and fresh and plump, which means it's actually very hydrated. You don't want to use any kind of old ginger because it might be dried and you won't get as much juice. And this one, since we're using the fresh juice from it, we want it to have as much juice as possible. So let's estimate about 6 ounces.
All right, what do you think 6 ounces looks like?
I'm guessing it's going to be about that much.
That piece?
I think we're going to make some good ginger ale. We have a kitchen scale, so we're going to actually measure it and see how much it weighs. 7.35.
So we just need to maybe remove that knob.
6.6. I might even trim these off. All right, let's try that. 6.4. 6.1, that is close enough.
Yay, we got our ginger.
If you chop it up, it'll be about a cup of fresh ginger.
And this is a really good piece. It's completely solid. That's gonna make really good juice. Let's do it. Even though we're gonna juice this, I'd rather clean off the excess dirt, so I'm gonna give it a quick wash.
There are a couple different types of juicers, and what we have is a centrifugal juicer. There's another type of juicer that grinds things and gets the juices out, but the centrifugal, it shreds it up and then it just flings it to the outside. Centrifugal force pulls all the juice out and then out it comes in the little spout.
It's really quite amazing.
This is if you want to extract a lot of flavor from something. Probably one of the best things that we ever make with a juicer is carrot juice. Love that stuff.
But carrot and ginger is even better.
Carrot, ginger.
So let's get to juicing. I got it. Whew. That's always a process. But we did it. Whew, it's super strong. This reminds me of when we drank our ginger juice shot in Key West. the sugar apple. We're gonna have a tempeh sandwich. And they have lots of juices too. Ginger juice.
That is really spicy. Oh man, it made my eyes water. So about 1 cup of fresh ginger made that amount of juice.
So if you have a juicer and you're already making some juice, you want to make some ginger ale with it. Just set aside about a half cup of fresh ginger juice.
So this is going into our half-gallon mason jar. I'm actually curious how much is left over in the shredder.
Let's take a look. Wow, look at all that pulp. That's fairly dry. It's not that much.
Since it still smells pretty strong like ginger, I'm guessing there's still a lot of flavor in there, which is why we have to use a little bit more ginger to start with than our normal recipe. Okay, so the next ingredient is another flavor ingredient, and that is lemon or lime.
And we're gonna be using 1 tablespoon of lemon or lime juice,
That works out to about half of a lime.
depending on the size of the lime.
True.
These look like Key West limes.
We have our juicer here, even though we just had a commercial juicer on the counter, because we only want the juice. If we were to put this into the centrifugal juicer, it would get all the rind and the pith, and it would make it very bitter.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna hand juice this the old-fashioned way. A little bit of elbow grease.
I'm pretty sure we're going to need both halves.
That looks like about a tablespoon.
Exactly. Go ahead and put that into our jar. Now before we fill this up with water, we've got to put in our next ingredient, which is sugar. You can use any type of sugar. We're going to use 1 cup of sugar.
If you were to put your water in first, the sugar takes up space too, so you might overflow the jar.
And we're going to use a wide mouth funnel. Just make sure we get it all in there.
The next ingredient is our ginger bug. Now this is what makes the soda so fizzy and fun and alive.
And we actually have our ginger bug. We took it right out of the fridge where we've been feeding it regularly. It's actually pretty active. I can see bubbles in it. This is a beautiful looking ginger bug. We know that it works because we've been making all kinds of soda. We got to give it a stir before we add it because we want to make sure to get all of that good bacteria.
So for this half-gallon recipe, we need a half a cup of ginger bug starter.
And I like to kind of scoop it out like this so that I don't get any of the big pieces.
Now we probably don't even need this ginger bug starter.
Really?
With the bacteria and yeast that are already on this ginger, I don't even think you need it. But the only problem with fresh ginger is you don't really know what kind of bacteria and yeast are on the outside. And what if the ginger is dead? What if it's been irradiated and it's not even alive anyway?
True. And here we are, we have a ginger bug that we know works. So hence we add it.
So we're adding it just in case. It just gives you more of a likelihood that you're gonna come out with a soda that you expect.
And who wants to go through the process of making a soda and have it not work? It's the worst.
So that brings us to the next ingredient to get this finished, and that is non-chlorinated water.
You can't boil off chlorine, just use non-chlorinated. Let's see if that's enough water.
Now that we have all of the ingredients in our half-gallon mason jar, you just top it all the way up to 2 quarts or about a half gallon.
That was plenty of water. Now we got to give it a good stir. I realized that this method of making ginger ale with fresh ginger juice is much easier because you don't have to let it cool down.
When you have hot water, you can't put the ginger bug in right away, otherwise it'll kill it. This makes the whole process a lot faster.
I think the sugar's pretty much dissolved.
Okay, we're moving on to the fermentation stage.
Yes!
So the next step, all we need to do now is just cover it. So really you can do this in a couple different ways. You can put a cloth over it with a rubber band, or you can do what we like to do and use these fermentation lids.
And the ones that we like to use are silicone. They have a little bit of a hole on top so that air can escape and no oxygen is coming in, so you're less likely to get common yeast or mold. You just kind of place it right on top and screw down the lid with one of those metal rings. So if you're interested, we're going to put the link in the video description below.
So now that we're ready to move on to the primary fermentation stage, how long would you say this should sit on the counter?
I'd say between 2 and 5 days for a ginger ale, but it really depends on the temperature of your house, how active your ferment. There might have been chlorine in your water and then it gets killed. But don't worry, we're gonna follow our process every day and show you what it looks like so you know what to expect when you're fermenting this at home.
After 24 hours, the ginger bug is working and we already see a lot of bubble activity. This is a good sign. There are even some larger bubbles forming on top. After 2 days, it's still bubbling quite a bit and forming a thin layer of white bubbles. It's still fairly active with bubbles, so we'll continue fermenting.
All right, it's been 3 days, and we have a side-by-side comparison for you. Freshly made batch and one that's been fermenting for 3 days.
So how do we know this is ready to bottle? First, I just want to give it a smell.
Whoa, that smells fermented.
And it smells really good. What you would expect from regular ginger ale. It's a little spicy, it's a little fermenty. And of course, it's still fairly active, but it's not going crazy. I think it's slowed down quite a bit. The original question, can you ferment from raw ginger juice? That is a definite yes. Time to move on to the next step, and that's the bottling process.
Awesome. For that, I have some glass beer bottles. I call them beer bottles mainly because we purchased some pressure safe bottles, and a lot of times beer bottles will allow you to do that. But they have nice flip tops, they allow you to hold pressure, and that's what we want because we're trying to build carbonation during this process.
But we have to be really careful because if you build too much carbonation, these things can explode, which is also why we always have a plastic tester bottle. We say that every time because we want to make sure that no bottles explode on anybody. You have to be really careful.
And the tester bottle allows us to squeeze the sides and see how much pressure is building in here, so we know how much pressure is also building in the glass bottles.
We also like to use #1 recyclable bottles.
Which you can see on the bottom.
Because they're already made for soda, so acidic environments, no problem.
Gotta give it a quick stir, because we want all of our bottles to be uniform and have all the good ginger ale.
A lot of fizz coming from there.
It's very alive.
This is a very good sign. For this half-gallon batch, we have our 4 bottles ready, and let's get to bottling. The most important part is this plastic tester bottle. The strategy we like to do is to fill them all about even, and they pressurize about the same. I'm just going to redistribute these so all the bottles are perfectly even. Now that we have these filled, we're going to cap them off to build some pressure so we can get those good bubbles that we like.
And on the tester bottle, you really want to tighten it pretty hard because you don't want any of the carbonation to escape.
You can see right now it has a lot of give to it. Now these flip top bottles, we just put the top right on and press it down. Now we know that's nice and tight.
So now we're all ready. How long should this sit on the counter for the secondary fermentation process?
Typically, we like to bottle for about 2 days, but just in case, we're going to show you how much pressure is building up in this plastic tester bottle so you know what to expect during the fermentation process.
It's been 24 hours of the bottling process, and we're in for a little surprise today. It is super hard. Can't even squeeze it in. I'm trying. It's really rock solid.
Normally we go for 2 days on the bottling process, and if we would just kept that rule, then it probably would have been a little dangerous. We'd be probably worried that these might explode. Since there's so much pressure in this tester bottle, we're gonna open this first to see what's going on inside here. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Yeah!
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Wow!
Ooh, and I can smell the ginger. Wow.
That's only after 24 hours. Ooh. That's crazy.
If you make ginger ale with fresh ginger juice, please be very, very careful on the carbonation process. It is very active.
A lot of bacteria and yeast in there that are still alive, and we added the ginger bug starter, so yeah. It is like a 1-2 punch. These things are going to be highly pressurized, so we're going to have to burp it and cap it right away. Otherwise, we're probably going to have ginger ale on the ceiling.
I think so.
Wish us luck.
Whoa, 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 whoa! I thought it was done. Oh! Oh, my eyes! Ow, my eyes! Ow! Ow!
Yeah.
Ow! 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 It sprayed in my eyes.
Oh. You could probably open it now, I think.
Oh, it sprayed in my eyes. I burned. Oh. Ow.
Refreshing?
Oh, I'm surprised I can still see.
Oh.
Okay, you ready?
Since fresh juice is such an active ferment, we'd recommend going longer in primary fermentation so it has time to settle down a bit. We'd recommend fermenting for 4 to 6 days and then bottle with care. Whoa. Wow, that was rushing up pretty quick. I think I'm gonna let that calm down a little bit and then we can open it again. Look at all those bubbles. Could you imagine if we had gone one more day, these bottles probably could have exploded, so be very careful.
I was pretty nervous that it was going to explode all over the place.
We are getting there. You might have to burp it multiple times if you ever get to this amount of pressurization. Getting close. Took 3 different burps. So now we've definitely answered the question, can you make ginger ale from raw ginger juice that you juiced from a juicer? And that is definitely yes.
Yes.
I think definitely yes with a big yes.
Yes.
Now, but how does it taste? Let's see this.
You're going to love it.
Very, very good.
Delicious.
Oh, I love it. It's spicy. It's still pretty sweet. What would this taste like versus the standard method? And we just so happen to have another bottle that we made previously. So let's have a side-by-side taste test. Hey!
And this one was made using the boiling process.
Wow, look how clear that is.
Huh.
You know, I bet there's still some of the sediment on the bottom there.
Yes, there is.
Usually we swish it up a little bit.
I want to see if it's the same color as the other one.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. It all just settles to the bottom. So right away, they look identical.
The one with the ginger juice definitely has a little bit more of a bite.
If you want to make ginger ale faster and you have a juicer, use a juicer.
It's easier, it's faster, and you get the same result.
So if you guys want more awesome recipes like these, like, share, be sure to subscribe. We appreciate every one of you. And get out there
And create some culture.
We have some cat interference. Oh, we can give him tuna. Or maybe not.
Let's try it one more time.